This week on RSBANDB Update, the Player Avatar Rework arrives after years of development and modernizes our treasured RuneScape characters. We showcase the base avatars and hairstyles, look at the female model, and ask the big question, is it RuneScape-y, and does it fit into the game? This is RSBANDB Update, episode 1093, recorded Thursday, June 11th, 2026. Impeccable chiseling. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RSBANDB Update. Big week for the game. Big week for the podcast, nonetheless. Tanis, you're here to celebrate this with us. Welcome back.
Thank you, Shane.
We have some news about RSBANDB Update, but also, I must say that this Friday will mark the 21st anniversary since we published the first episode of RSBANDB Update. Hence why Xurdones is here with the party hat.
So I wasn't even going to mention it. I was just going to sort of let people figure it out for themselves. But yes, happy birthday.
Xurdones, everyone's favorite clan quester, the Canadian from the East, we'll call him. And also joining us is Zant for the Player Avatar Rework. This project has been something that you and I have been talking about so long, going back and forth, and it's a little bit surreal seeing this finally arrive, such a project of magnitude in this way.
Yeah, it's crazy how long it's been.
They first announced this, I think, in like late summer 2021, and then it just went on and off the table since then. And you know, it took a while for them to get going on it and handle all the tech behind it. But we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about what that means for the greater vision of RuneScape in 2026 and beyond. But of course, if you're joining us for the first time, the show would not be possible without our experienced tier Patreon members this week. That includes Amos Reed, Bladecom, Dominic R., Jade Gizmo, Jason S., Jesse W., Julia W., Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Ricky A., Psyoasis, Asmavid, Snail Mage, The Naked Captain, and Tim. And if you do want to hear more about the podcast or follow along in the show notes, you can find all that and more over at update.show. We also have the Friends chatting game that can be found at Bits Bytes and the community Discord over at update.show/Discord. So with that being said, let's just go straight into this Avatar rework. What was everybody's initial thoughts upon logging in on Monday and seeing how your characters looked? Did they do them well? Did they do them right?
Yeah, I was pretty satisfied. I actually put on one of my presets that I thought would actually be kind of difficult to just get right the first time around with a huge rework like this, and I was pleasantly surprised. It worked as I expected, and it looked pretty good.
These are the ones you sent me?
Yeah, it's this Gobi war paint, sort of like a tattoo thing just on the player character's body, and I thought this was kind of a notable one because one of the things that I think changed with this rework is, you know, outfits in the past that were just your character mostly with bare skin on the chest. It brought the torso with the actual outfit, and so you'd have this kind of situation where your torso would look different depending on the outfit piece you had on sometimes. But this seems to just be applying the tattoos kind of just like on top of the actual full avatar, which is something that changed with this rework, which is awesome to see. That makes them just like making new outfits in the future like a lot easier because they don't have to consider like adding this whole body that comes with it.
Yeah, because they were changing in the old system. You know, the beards and whatnot were attached to noses, so it was pretty much impossible.
Beards were like a whole jaw piece, basically.
Yeah,
is what
it
they
was
said.
pretty much impossible to put new facial hair in without doing a whole new jaw.
And I didn't realize, like, your abs are contingent on tattoos, apparently, in RuneScape. Like, you can't be sexy, hard-ass with abs unless you got some ink. So.
I think we're waiting. I think we're waiting for the beachwear for that to come, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think there is a bare torso with the beach, one of the beach outfits. I think.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Well, if you scroll through all those outfits now, the body behind them is all just consistent now. Whereas, like in the past, like certain like body types would actually kind of make you not want to just use that outfit piece because you're like too ripped or something.
Hmm.
Yeah,
no such
yeah,
thing.
Right here.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There you go. There's your sun's out, guns out.
Yeah,
yeah, there we go.
Which I think is like a great under the hood thing, like mechanically. I mean, this is good longevity wise, but yeah, it was definitely replaced with like the dad summer bod, right? Like, or is it just me?
I think it's just you, man. I think it's
like okay, that's like, yeah,
like there's an impeccable amount of chiseling there.
Yeah, I think this is. I would call this pretty ripped.
Okay. I think they struck a good balance though, because some of the earlier iterations were even more ripped.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, you're not,
and that's the thing we were trying to get
to, or anything.
Like we were trying to figure out, is this RuneScape-y? Does it go too far, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want that superhero kind of feel to my stuff, but I can totally get if someone didn't feel like that was appropriate or they didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean,
it just didn't feel right.
Like back in the day, one of the things I said I'd like to have, and I've kind of let up on this since we got the Santa outfit, is that, you know, it'd be nice to have like kind of a more chubby kind of character option. But given the way the system works, they can't do that.
That's the logical next step is body types. You can have you can have lean and chiseled. You can go full Superman. You can go dad bod. Write this down, Jagex.
And I mean, like, let's also not forget that with this comes a whole new suite of animations outside of the default emotes. But one of the things you can really see if you go to the emotes that move the arms and legs, you can actually see that we have fingers and toes now, for real.
Now, something I'd like to see, it'd be cool if they could like render the rings we're wearing.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Just kind of have like a little yellow circle with a black dot on it for everyone's favorite.
For the luck of the dwarves there.
On that. And
show off the bling.
You know, I think one of the other things that we need to we wanted to mention, and I think we might as well get into this right now with this, is what exactly is the role of the female body in this avatar? Because
Shane, who wants to tell him?
What?
We all know
what's the role of the female body. I mean, that's a
well. I mean, like the question was,
we'll tell you when you're older.
I mean, there's philosophical classes.
Thank you for making me
entertain that
idea. Thank you for ensuring that I wasn't drinking or anything this week on that. But like the question is, like, I think everybody's fairly content with the male avatar, right? But there was some questions about where exactly the female avatar landed in all of this.
I'm more concerned about the face on the female character.
Okay, guide us here.
What do you think? A little droopy.
Yeah, a little bit chubby cheeked. A little bit.
So, like, if I pull it up in here, right?
Yeah,
like that in the avatar. Like to me, at a first glance, like I don't personally see an issue with this, but I've never run a female avatar in game outside of the one quest that requires it. So it's not my character
in the
play
actual
type.
Chat box view rather than this like wardrobe view for some reason. Like when it's at that angle, it really sticks out.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's a general issue. Is I think all of the chat box avatars, they seem to be kind of angled a little bit weird.
Yeah, it's kind of that thing where the field of view of the wardrobe view is a little off during the beta.
That's kind of like what we were talking about with that, how it was making some of them look confused, or in some of them, you know, like in this case, in the female one, you could see that maybe there's a little bit of problem with her jaw there and whatnot in this case. So, I mean, those are all like minor tweaks and fixes around the edges on that. Overall, I guess when we when we look at this entire Avatar project as a whole, you look at the amount of tech and the amount of investment that they winded up putting into this. You get to a situation where it is kind of paving the way forward for future cosmetics and future everything good, Xurdones?
Well,
yeah, I don't know. My light just blinked out.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I don't know what happened there.
Anyway,
I'm still here.
Toss a flashbang into his room.
But no, I mean, like it lines the game up for a future of Avatar side projects, like new outfits, new emotes, and new cosmetics that people can impart on this character. And it effectively, I think, had to do one thing, and that one thing that when we look at this, that it had to do was effectively make a new RuneScape avatar, but still have it feel RuneScape-y.
So I didn't really, and I don't see well anyway, but even zooming in, I didn't see a tremendous amount of difference, right? Like it was a little more, to me, it was a little more clear. It's better. There's a noticeable difference, but not tremendously, not jarringly. So to me, I think the big thing is kind of what you mentioned, Shane, with the amount of resources, the amount of time that they dedicated to this. And don't forget, like, to me, this is the resurrected avatar, right? This thing is holy. I mean, you could do something with it, because this thing was dead. I mean, it was dead and in the ground for what, 6 months, a year?
Like, try 2.5.
I never.
Yeah, it was
2.5,
dead for a
right?
long time.
Yeah, so like on the third year, it rose and actually became a thing.
And like that's what I'm wondering with this, is that this wasn't the full scope of what they had initially promised. What they effectively, I think, found out how to do is they found out how to deliver an avatar rework that was in the middle of where everybody wanted it to be, because they could have went further than this, and I think that's what the initial spec called for, but we didn't end up with that at all.
Well, I think they're actually pretty close, because as I remember, the initial spec was, we're going to redo the face and the basic outfits. So like if you take everything off, what you're wearing underneath are going to get redone. And we got the face, we got the body, we didn't get the clothes.
We got a few outfits, I think, didn't we?
Well, I think they had to go through and retouch a ton of outfits just to make them work with the new body. And there have been some bugs, and like if you look on Reddit, you'll see some pretty funny ones. And those are going to get looked at. But we didn't get the base outfit changes. Those are still the same, which I actually quite like, because I did log into the Avatar beta and I did not like the default outfit they gave me. I like my my maroon jodhpurs and my bandolier.
Was that like an actual cosmetic then that you're using?
No, it's the basic outfit. Like if you take off everything.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask a dumb question here. How do you get to the basic outfits?
Go into... if you want to browse them, I think you have to go to Thessalia in Varrock.
In the store. Okay, we'll do
that. Take off all armor and all
but if you take off all your armor and you take off all your cosmetics, you'll see what you're currently wearing.
Yeah, which is something relatively, I guess in this case, old based on.
Yeah, they're still going to be pretty low poly from like 2015, I think.
Would have been like NXT era, I think, right? Probably.
Yeah, I think it came out with the Birth Orb expansion.
Okay,
but still though, they don't look too off with the new characters. I mean,
not too off.
Fine.
Like they made this stuff work. I was
gonna say, I think they struck a good like balance between getting the quality level right with this, where even though we do have some older armors in the game, it doesn't look too crazy to have your character wearing it. Like that's one thing I was kind of concerned about seeing some of the earlier iterations of the Avatar rework is I couldn't imagine like with that first version that we saw equipping some of these like earlier sets that we have now Like my character still uses that screenshot I sent Shane. Those pants are one of the ones that come from Thessalia's. So it's one of the base set ones. I just have it like, the override turned off in the wardrobe view because I like the shade of purple I could get with that. And yeah.
So what they did is anything that's listed as retro are ones that haven't been updated. So
I don't think any of these have been updated.
I was gonna say, yeah, because the ones that I'm wearing, it's not one of the retro ones, but they definitely haven't changed.
Well, because what they did when they reworked these, because they kept all the old ones, because initially you had like some really, like when the game first launched in like in the RS2 days, you had some really basic outfits you could choose from. Yeah. And then when they did like the new member experience, the Birth Orb expansion, they added a whole bunch of outfits that were sort of class based, even though RuneScape doesn't really have classes.
Like Smithers, Ranger.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I currently have on. I think it's like the thieving one.
So I don't think any of these are new, but I think like the non-retro ones are still going to be reasonably high poly just because they're relatively new. They're like 10, 11, 12 years old, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean they don't look.
It's weird to call that new, but
right, but I mean like they don't look bad. Like if I mean pardon the pants here, but if I just throw this on, it's not going to look, like horrible, right? Like just the basic shirt. So
yeah, like it's still noticeably lower res than just the base model, but it looks fine. It works with your model. Like you can tell that it's still the new model underneath. It doesn't have that weird pinched elbow thing.
Yeah.
Or we could just do this.
The knees aren't awful.
Yeah.
Or we can just do this, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, like compared to newer cosmetics, they're still noticeably retro, but they look fine.
Yeah.
I think this is going to at least give them some more opportunities, like during quests when you have like the cutscenes that get a little close to the face. Those aren't going to be nearly as jarring now.
Hopefully, at least until the next time they do a big engine rework.
Yeah.
And then everything breaks.
And then the question is like, how do you manage, multiple layers of different quest cutscenes in terms of rendering how that's all gonna look at the end of the day. Zant, for you, is there anything that stood out on your end as being not 100% proper in terms of how it landed, or is everything seeming relatively smooth?
I'm pretty happy with how it is for now. I mean, I think the faces are definitely a tiny bit strange still, but that's being quite nitpicky. The fact that this is working with most all outfits and nothing too game breaking is going on. Notably, I don't think anyone's been complaining about like performance issues or anything like that. I mean,
just the usual ones.
Yeah, I think the fact that this is in and functioning and they can kind of just cook on it for a while now is good. Seriously, I was very impressed that my weird tattoo piece of armor did not just look completely broken when I logged in this week. That was something, yeah, it was really great to see. That tells me that they quite literally probably had to go like piece to piece with a lot of these armor sets that show a lot of skin underneath and like make sure they function correctly.
Yeah, and you could imagine
the torso model that was there.
That once the baseline is done, that it becomes a project of adjustments like that, right? So
yeah, so maybe that kind of stuff is what made it like. Yeah, and this game has a ton, so maybe that kind of stuff is what pushed it back like another, I think, week it was, right?
Yeah,
and I think that was also the response from the beta too. To make sure that every outfit that people wanted, including the legacy retro ones, would still be easy enough to access for people. Because I think that was part of the reason why it was delayed as well. So
yeah.
And then again, I just think they really struck the balance nice with the fidelity of this thing. It's not too through the roof realistic to the point where we have like individual hairs on the character, and it looks very in world. And it works very well with most armor sets we have in game. I don't think anything's going to look too crazy off with it.
That's kind of where I wanted to go next with that. Is that does it like is it RuneScape-y?
Well, I think so. That's basically where I'm getting with this. I think it is for the most part.
Yeah, I think like to Tanis's point, I kind of agree. Like logging in, it's obviously different, but I don't notice it as being too different. But I do think that's a good thing. Like that's not a criticism.
It's
That's
like the best way I can describe it is that unless you have a before and after picture in a few months' time, you're not going to remember the difference. But when you go back to look at how it was, you are going to see the difference. It's kind of like when you had that HD TV and your channel initially wasn't broadcasting in HD, then switched to HD, and then it's like that going back and forth between them, as we saw about 20 years ago on broadcast TV. So that's the
I've been doing a lot of quests this past week and just seeing it in the chat box a lot. It looks very natural and doesn't look like it's trying to be something it's not.
You think it's time for a new me?
Do it.
A quiff with new ham violet hair or chaotic indigo?
It's the summer. It's the time to reinvent yourself. New year, new you.
One of the things that I wanted and I meant to pick up on the GIM was that spring picnic outfit that I was going to use for that, but I never got around to that at the time. But I do have it here on the main at least, and you can kind of see. I mean, I don't necessarily know if wearing a hat with this outfit is, or with this new stuff is a good way to go, but here we are.
I don't know. I think that's a quite dapper hat.
Yeah,
that's a mighty fine hat.
I think you should just go farm cape, Sirion's hot pants. That's it.
That was an episode title back in the day, and I need to see what his outfit looks like when he gets back. He's actually on vacation at an actual beach in real life.
Oh.
So,
ooh la la, fancy.
We'll see if we can get a photo of that. Nice. What the beach is going to end up looking like here, but. I mean, yeah, all these things like just fit in. And another thing I wanted to hone in on is that we have this mark now of RS Classic on one far end of the spectrum, then OSRS, then RSHD, then the NXT stuff that we were at just last week, and now this, and then on the far end of realism, Dragon Wilds.
Stylized realism.
Yeah. So my question is like, what's the limit for how far they can take the player avatar kit in this game before it gets to be too much like Dragon Wilds or not, RuneScape-y for this
incarnation? I think as long as they keep most of the environment art within the same style we've got now, like there's still quite a bit of room for even that stuff to be upped in fidelity a bit before I think this character starts to look out of place.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's more of a direction thing rather than a fidelity thing as well. Like at that point.
That's kind of where I was going to go with that. Like I think you can make the avatar more higher fidelity, but it becomes more a matter of like you don't want to go realistic. You just want to go high poly stylized.
Yeah.
Because I do think going more to the Dragon Wilds direction that wouldn't really work in RuneScape.
No.
And see, to me, Dragon Wilds is totally stylized, like realistic. I don't know. That's how
it is stylized, but I think it's a little bit. It does lean more into the realism. It is still stylized. You're right.
It's got like little bits of realism in like the materials and lighting and things like that. I think that's mostly because the fact that they're using Unreal 5 and they have access to all these things with the engine that's really easy to pull that kind of thing off that they can't usually do in the RuneScape engine.
Yeah, they don't have their 20-year-old bespoke engine.
Yeah.
Which, when you consider all that, it's absolutely amazing that you're able to go from this world here all the way to something, that is way less detailed if your graphics demand such a thing. So
I do think the core pillar is just having a design vision, like having an idea of what kind of stylization you want. And I think like having a good art direction can paper over even low fidelity graphics. Like the example in my head is World of Warcraft, which they've gone through a bunch of graphical updates over the years, but even the old stuff, a lot of it still looks really good from like the earliest days of the game because they had an art direction, they had an idea of what kind of stylization they were going for, and that worked very well.
And I guess the flip side from this, and the thing that was consistently popping into my head as you were saying that, is that I remember the initial screenshots of the sculpts that they did for the head of these reworks. Yeah. And I think there was a bit of miscommunication at the time, is that people didn't necessarily know about how that was going to look when you got that into engine.
Right. The difference between how the proof of concept model looks.
And I think because of that, it's not as jarring as a lot of people thought it was going to be. And that makes it work, if I'm being honest. Because even I thought, like, this is the kind of thing that you would present as though you're taking a new vision and a new vision outward to something called RuneScape 4, if you were to name such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think you can still maintain that, we're still on the individual, one track bandwagon here of one RuneScape with this. So, is there anything else about outfits, avatar pieces, facial structure, how it fits into the game, and is it RuneScape-y enough? Does anybody have anything else on that? No?
Not on those topics. I think I just want to reiterate that I feel like as much as this update has been hyped up, I feel like the real star of the show is the stuff that we're not seeing. It's all the stuff that's going on in the background. It's going to make things easier for the devs going forward.
Case in point, you could put out a cosmetic pack featuring new facial hair.
Yeah.
The
example that was in my head is I remember in the Mod Iro live streams way back when they were talking about doing animations and how like they didn't have a skeletal animation rig for the player character. And so they had to animate by like individually moving pixels.
Oh God.
And it's like, that is horrible.
Yep.
So I'm assuming, I don't know if that fix made it into this update. I hope it did. But that kind of stuff is
like to have like a proper skeleton.
Yeah, so you can do like proper animation, proper rigging with industry standard tools, or at least closer to industry standard tools, and have it just not be a catastrophe.
Yeah, even just like basic things like copying animations between different characters of a similarly like shaped rig, like most humanoids.
Right.
I imagine that just didn't work before the system got implemented. But sure, getting this like character up-res in fidelity a bit, it's going to help with like the outfits and stuff. But I think just this fundamental rework we're getting here, it's also going to help in the future if we're ever going to get like future reworks to this character to get it even higher resolution. Like this is kind of just modernizing, I think, their entire approach to how they handle like the player character in a lot of ways like that really does future-proof them a bit.
Like if you wanted to, you could just have an update in the future that works on your fingers, right?
Yeah. Come on, give me rings. Let me see the rings on my fingers. That'd be cool.
Give me fingernail polish, nail polish,
or other kind of embellishments like piercings. Though that might not necessarily be in the realm of what fits in with RuneScape, but piercing, tattoos, body ink, those sorts of things, like Zam was
I think
saying.
Piercings are plenty grounded. We've been doing piercings.
Yeah, I think so
for as long as we've had people.
Okay. Fair enough.
You get like piercings going back to like ancient Egypt and ancient China.
So that would definitely fit in RuneScape then. And I'm just the dirty, filthy capitalist that thinks that any of these angles can be used as a monetization lens. Then
please do.
Gotta bring in the dough somehow.
Because that's what we were saying. With the absence of Treasure Hunter, where do you go? Right? You're basically left
please do it
to monetize cosmetics.
Right now they're basically cosmetics, keepsake keys, which are just cosmetics, and bonus XP. That's it. and merch.
Do it, Jagex. Do it.
Do it, you cowards.
With that, I think we can move on and we can talk about the next cosmetic drop that's there for this one. But before that, I'm going to thank some Patreon supporters because it is that time of the show. We are about the half-hour in mark right now. And this week, I'd like to thank Alvaro L., Amos Reed, Arvids L., Bladecom, Chilbura, Dominic R., Duramax, Forceful Turd, Keela Fleur, Imperialis, Jade Gizmo, Jason S., Jesse W., Julia W., Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Mattman, Mighty Myth, Michelle M., Mike Wings, Mongrath, Pronacius, Ricky A., Robbie D., Samuel FL, Sanguine RX, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Sly Oasis, Smavin, Snailman, Snail Mage, Squidman 8, The Naked Captain, The Dabbit Goat, Tim, Ukulele Steve, Woody, Zant, and Zazakon. Thank you so much, everybody. It means the world to us. And if you're wondering what all this is about, patreon.com/RSBANDB. There, we just published our most recent monthly bit, the Road to Restoration check-in. How has the Road to Restoration gone so far? We spent about an hour and a half talking about that. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can access that and 94 other monthly bits for as little as $1 a month. Patreon.com/RSBNB. For that price, you get the entire monthly bit catalog. You get voting rights for upcoming monthly bits, and you also keep RSBANDB Update running. Then we have our community tier for $3 a month, where you get a VIP rank in Discord, a special chat channel, and a monthly shout-out on the show, plus high-quality stereo versions of the show. And from time to time with that, we'll ask you for ideas on everything, from monthly bit ideas, Patreon topics for quiet weeks, and, of course, our community nights that happen every other month or so. Then we have our Insider tier, where for $5 a month, you get a weekly shout-out on the show, access to our expanded clip archive, which might include things from pre- and post-show, as well as the outtakes, the clips that we use to make the clip show. Xurdones, you produced one of those last week. You produced one of those clips.
I did. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. Patreon members will know what that's about. Patreon.com/RSBNB. But it means the world to us. Thanks so much, everybody. Patreon.com/RSBNB. Okie dokie. Also coming with this update, the Chaos and Destruction Marketplace update. They're doing an okay job so far. They're keeping everybody up to pace on what's been recently released and what is leaving the store, because it does rotate out from time to time. I will say that. So they're calling this Chaos and Destruction, and alongside of this includes the Hellfire Mega Bundle, the Weapons Bundle, the Destructive Weapons Bundle, Rageful Armor, Vicious Armor, and Wrathful Armor, as well as a whole bunch of ability overrides, mainly the corrupted versions of all of the abilities that are out there. They're also mentioning that later this month, the fungal overrides will be coming back. So these are the Crosis-themed fungal abilities like Assault, Hurricane, Tendrils, and Swiftness, alongside associated cosmetics from the Path of the Creators Part 2 Yak track to take us back in time. And they also do have a huge, voluminous list of everything leaving the store on June 15th. And I just wanted to highlight this here because this isn't highlighted anywhere in the game client. So if you're out there and you're looking for something like some of the Azure cosmetic overrides, you have until June 15th to pick those up, and then they're going to go away for some unknown amount of time going forward. So I just wanted to bring note to that. Are there any cosmetics that you guys are looking to bring back?
Or I can think of.
I mean, I'm
not the ones I wanted with the last set.
I'm not going to buy any of these, so I have no interest in spending money on cosmetics. So.
Okay.
Don't really care, to be honest.
Purple ranged abilities I've missed?
I think your closest ones for that are the occult.
Purple range.
Yeah, see, I bought everything I wanted with that.
And you know what's interesting is that I had no idea this was in, but I should definitely buy the Happy Walk, because that'll let us recreate our iconic thumbnail from the beta week, Zant. So I'm going to do that after the show. I'm going to remind myself.
I got to say, Lava Tsunami looks really cool. I don't use magic, though. So
yeah. So I wanted to highlight that all that was there. I mean, I like cosmetics, and I think Overwatch pioneered the modern cosmetic.
I would have said Fortnite over Overwatch.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
I think Fortnite also pioneered the we're going to take things out of the store for random periods of time. So buy them now, or who knows when you'll get another chance.
I never played much Fortnite, you guys. But you know what did happen?
Either, but
you know, I played it like maybe 3 or 4 times, and on the last time we played it, they had this grenade, and you could throw it and it would make people dance. And I accidentally threw it in front of my teammates. So I made my entire team dance, then we got wiped, and that was the end of Fortnite.
Sounds about right.
And what a note to end on. Did they at least do funny dances?
It was just the stereotypical Fortnite dance that everybody was doing on TikTok back in the day.
Okay, I'm not on TikTok, so
no, neither am I. Maybe we should post clips of this show to TikTok.
Apparently, that's where the money is.
I wonder if there's a market for TikTok podcasts that don't rage bait their viewers.
I mean, is there a market for TikTok podcasts, period? I thought TikTok was a pretty short form content.
I've seen some of my tech podcasts post shorts and on TikTok, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, shorts content usually works pretty good.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to just note that was thrown into this post was a bit of a nugget. Changes to the bonus XP approach. So 6 months in, they're evaluating how it's gone, and they say Radiant Stars on the marketplace essentially paywalled their availability, which feels out of kilter with every other gameplay relative item since they've started on the road to rejuvenation.
Okay, sure. We're rebranding the rebrand already.
They said based on usage showing the stars being used by a smaller audience who really need it, they feel comfortable enough to solve this. So later on this month, Radiant Stars will be able to be acquired via gameplay through bonds. And the feedback came in that the bonus XP packages were not quite worth the money, given that we'd come off of the back of Treasure Hunter pumping out various forms of XP like candy. They wanted to let it sit until the memory of Treasure Hunter Returns was a little bit more distant. So with this, no matter whether you spend bonds or real-world money, the purchases should feel respectful. So they will be increasing the amount of stars from each bundle to strike a better balance. They'll also be removing the odd friction of the bonus XP cap, too.
I didn't even know bonus XP had a cap.
I didn't either.
I've never had that much bonus XP.
Well, they added a cap with the Radiant XP stars.
Oh,
I think it's like how much you can purchase per day.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
It was 5 million in one skill for a maximum of 100 million.
Okay.
Or the other items were 100 mil, so it was 5 mil only.
Okay.
So I think that's interesting. You know, that makes it a little bit more tempting that you can use bonds and there's no cap, and you could, maybe see what the exact path is now if you were wanting to, say have the amount of time it would take to get a 120. So
of course, the interesting thing in this is that we can now put a real dollar. I mean, I guess we could when we were buying them too, but we can now put a real dollar value to XP.
Yeah.
Gotta work out what that is. That'll be interesting to math.
Yeah, we'll do that when it arrives. So I just wanted to draw that out because, nobody really talks about this. I don't know anybody who's actually bought these Radiant Stars. Anyone? Nope. No. Okay. If you know anybody who's bought Radiant Stars since they arrived, let us know. So, another thing I think I'd like to see come back in this marketplace sooner rather than later is the prismatic dyes. Basically, the ability to get an RGB color selector and create your own color, because those used to be in Solomon's general store, but are gone now. And they always used to be there. And I mean, with all the Avatar stuff, I thought, why not? That would probably be a good time.
I still find those frustrating. It's not true RGB. It's like, here's 16 colors of every section of our slider.
Well, maybe that's a future enhancement. They can improve it and make it true RGB now that they've
like an actual color selector.
Now that they've done
I find it frustrating. There's no true actual like white and black for that. You always have to do some sort of like slightly tinted other color.
Yeah, you'd think it would be under services here, but it's not. So
yeah, that's interesting that went.
I honestly wouldn't shock me if they removed it just because of the Avatar stuff, just to give them less variables to deal with.
But the thing is that we still have access to that.
The system's still there.
Like if I go into here, you can see I was playing around with it, and I was wanting this on the game. Is that I have different shades of green that I created from the two that were. From the two that were present. So
I don't know then. I got nothing.
But yeah, it's just one of the things that I'd like to see come back with that. But
yeah, that'd be cool.
That's the marketplace update. That's not a bad outfit.
Looking sharp.
Looking stylish.
Let's get a farming cape for it.
I'm personally satisfied that I didn't feel like I had to change my outfit after this rework. I was expecting to make a whole new outfit, but I'm just using the same one I had beforehand, and it looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that too. Like, I can throw that on here, and this is what I was running, and it doesn't look half bad when you consider it. So, note to
it's a RuneScape character.
I'll take a screenshot of this and post it with the episode for people watching, or for people primarily listening on audio, because I know we've been doing a bit of visual stuff here with the video.
It is a very visual week, to be fair.
It is.
So
I'll chuck a screenshot in there with that. But that's the marketplace update, and that gets us to the bigger question out of all of this. What has this done for rebranding RuneScape in 2026? Because you look at this whole year, this whole shebang started with the removal of Treasure Hunter and other associated microtransaction items. But alongside that, they brought in the new UI, a missile and graphical rework. Those two things came in with the Treasure Hunter removal that we weren't expecting, and surprised a lot of people when that arrived in January. Since then, we've got things like the item regrounding, the rendering changes that change the way that metals appear. We got that last month. And then, of course, this week we got the Avatar rework. And the way I see this is that this all filters in to a new vision of effectively bringing RuneScape back to its roots, or at least a fresh starting point for 2026. So, are we done, or is there more that can be done on this file? What do you guys think?
I think they probably should declare victory and stop.
While they're ahead.
That being said, none of this ever appealed to me. It doesn't. I hope that it's successful, though. I mean, I hope that it does bring returning players back. But for me, it doesn't. I was just never a big fan of any of these individual things. The Avatar thing, that's fine. But the whole let's rebalance everything, no, that wasn't what
Well, we talked about that on the bit because, we had this whole huge promise, and I won't spoil too much of the bit, but we had this whole huge promise that we're going to, restore the game to something that is in many ways, but not all the ways, screaming old school.
Redburn.
But there was a whole lot of compromise along the way for that. So what I'm wondering with that is this visual stuff that they did enough to kind of tone down the gaudiness of some of the stuff that was there before that came from the likes of, Treasure Hunter going too far with the cosmetics and what have you?
I mean, the stuff they've done so far, I would say no. They haven't, the stuff that they've touched has not really, if that's an issue that you have with the game, I don't think these updates have changed that. I personally don't have that issue, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, like the cosmetic toggle as an example. Are any of you running with that on? No, I'm not.
I kind of go on and off with it depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes I like seeing people's outfits. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I like seeing what they're actually wearing.
Okay.
But it's not just like a blanket thing. Like I have it off all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think the rebranding effort has been real. But I'm glad that you're calling it a rebranding because it's kind of what they're trying to do. Like, almost like forget about all this other stuff, but I didn't mind all this other stuff, right? Like, I played for a long time. Like, I just got a notification of this is 10 years in the clan. I'm in the second time around, right? So I don't even know what the first time was. So I never had that kind of I just never had a problem really with this game like that. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess the question that I have for you, Zant, on all this is that out of everything from the UI, the graphical reworks, the rendering changes, the avatar, and the cosmetics returning to base as they are, how do you think this sets up the game for a footing going into the next decade, say, or even just the next 5 years?
I mean, I don't think anything that's really happened here is completely earth-shattering in terms of, giving RuneScape a whole new identity. It's kind of more just refining what we've had, and I think just giving that a solid baseline as we go into the next couple of years. I think the character rework and the things like the game wrapper, like the logos, and I guess they're going to get that onto the website eventually, the UI,
eventually,
things of that nature, eventually. Yeah, mobile is
web
apparently
design is
still
complicated.
Blue. Apparently the mobile UI is still blue as well.
Mobile design is also complicated.
I mean, I think the player avatar is just a big deal in that regard. We've had this consistent graphical style that they've been doing with the environments for a while now. And this character kind of just looks completely fine next to them now. It doesn't look completely out of place. The environments are way higher fidelity than the character now. And
because it was like
I think
that
as
for
we discussed earlier,
right?
It kind of does. Yeah, for a while there, all the new environments they were coming out with were just each new one that would come out would push the graphics even further and further and further until I think we kind of just land on the style we have now that has little bits of this extra material detail in there, like metals and stuff, that makes it look a little bit, it makes things pop a little bit more, but it's still very much so within RuneScape's style. It's not attempting to be Skyrim. It's not attempting to be Cyberpunk or something crazy high fidelity like that. And then I just think the character we have now, it looks good next to these environments. It doesn't look like it's of a different quality level or even really of a different style. It kind of just fits there. And that's a good baseline to establish for everything they're going to be making going into the future because, all these different graphical elements between the characters and the environments can kind of have this one unified style instead of it just kind of still having some difference between the two like we've been stuck with for the longest time now.
I just tried to sign in to the mobile client and apparently there's some issue signing in with it. So I have no idea what's going on with that. I wanted to see if anything had changed with that, but I wasn't able to successfully sign into it, even on the website of it. So I have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah, I had that problem a little while ago too. I never got around to trying again.
iOS or Android?
Android.
Okay. Because I had the same problem on iOS.
See if I have my phone
and
on
it was
me.
from the RS3 client you did it?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, RS3 client, not the OS client, right?
Yeah, I don't play old school, so I don't have the old school app.
Okay, fair enough. But I think the wider thing that we're kind of getting at with this is that there was this fear and there was this thought that they were trying to OSRSify this game in January. We talked about the technical bits of that in the Road to Restoration content check-in on the bit. But graphically, I need to ask, do you think that somebody who plays OSRS is going to have less of a bottleneck to get into RS3 now than they would have in January, just given the graphical kind of changes that have been made?
Not really, other than maybe the UI.
Yeah, the UI is going to be a big sticking point. I don't know. I mean, in terms of the player avatar, I really don't think the change is that monumental. I think the changes to the environments are much more impactful. And in some cases, I would actually go like to call back to what I said earlier about the importance of art direction. I do feel like there are some of the graphical updates that I feel have kind of shifted away from a core art direction in a way that I don't necessarily love.
Which ones are you thinking?
I think there's a lot of stuff around the Dwarven Mine kind of springs to mind.
Okay, that was an interesting era. Kind of like the Invention Guild stuff and that area, right?
Well, no, like after that, like, because they did a pass, and I think it's the rock textures are mostly what annoy me. I don't really like the rock textures. There's an era where I think everything was trying to be kind of plasticine-y.
I think I know what you mean, yeah.
That is
a lot of that actually got, like a lot of the rocks that they had in the world that did kind of have that look actually kind of got some more texture to them with the update that did to like Misthalin. Not all of them, but like I know the ones in Demonheim changed. You can definitely notice that. Ones near Falador changed a lot. But I think that's just kind of like proof of this constant iteration they've been having on this style that they're figuring out. And it's good that we're just settling on one now, because that's been the constant hurdle that they've been fighting, like for most of RuneScape's life, is that there's been varying styles all over the place. And to do anything consistent with that is very hard. So for them to actually like decide that here we have this style, we're going to work on sculpting it and making it, just continuing to iterate on it into the future instead of trying this new style every time we are, unlocking this new level of fidelity for the game. I think that's a definite win, and it just makes everything that they've made nowadays more adaptable to the future once they unlock more capabilities to do things with higher fidelity graphics and whatnot.
You guys remember what was going to be the fabled Sears Village graphical rework?
That was going to be cool. It was going to have like the castle like barged into the mountain.
And then,
what about Yanil? Aren't we supposed to get that as well?
Eventually, one day.
Is that on the radar?
I mean, I'm sure they'll do it eventually. They kind of have to.
Okay.
I saw there were pictures of it on Twitter at one point. Has more of a built-up castle around it.
Because I wonder about that.
I think someone might have done a game jam on it.
Because Southern
Candorin, it was still a very early block mesh state.
Is really, crying out for some work in that way. But when the thing I keep coming back to in all this is that you can, effectively repaint RuneScape as many times as you want. But the core thing that happens, and I think the thing that everybody just runs through and walks through no matter what, is just the realization that, we're here to play this game. And at the core of it, we're going to notice the graphics. They're going to look nice on our phone or our desktop or wherever we play it. But does that really matter in the end when you consider that core loops of some of these skills have been engaging people on 2000 Farscape and OSRS, which obviously looks like, single-digit poly count relatively compared to this? I know it's not single-digit poly count, but you know what I mean in terms of
the thing about OSRS is it's a consistent style. Whereas RS3 has kind of always been this weird middle place where it is not a consistent style. It's a hodgepodge of like 8 to 10 different styles. Whereas old school, I mean, I think, some of their newer content has had some variants from that older style as they have different developers work on it and such. But no, it is, for the most part, it is all one style, where I think that's something that RS3 has struggled with up until more recently.
Yeah, that's sort of the flip side of what I was saying about it being more important to have a consistent art direction, because you can have a consistent art direction and go high fidelity, but you can also have consistent art direction and go low fidelity. Even if we look outside of RuneScape, like look at Undertale, look at Shovel Knight, look at Third Game.
Or even just like N64 games, like Ocarina of Time. Like it did a lot with what it had to do at the time with the fidelity it had to work with, and it looks great.
That's an interesting example, considering they just announced a remake with new graphics.
I know it's still in my headspace. It's probably why I'm thinking of it, honestly.
And isn't that one of the greatest things? Because one of the most popular things that you can see, of course, on Twitch is people running emulators of those old N64 and that general era of game, and that doesn't deter people. That doesn't deter people from playing it at all.
Right, like old games, retro-styled games, and even like actually old games, they still look, for the most part, fine. I mean, when you get into like early 3D, that's when things start getting a little dodgy, but start getting into like the Half-Life era, and Half-Life's a great game, but it looks like shit.
Yeah.
Well, when you're like limited in fidelity like you are with older games like that, you're heavily constrained in what you can actually do stylistically. And that is both limiting the different styles you can do and also kind of, I guess, making it somewhat easier to kind of just pick one and run with it. Whereas when you have just like, complete blank slate, Unreal Engine 5, tons of fidelity to work with, I mean, you can pretty much do anything. And sometimes that's more problematic than it is not problematic.
Right. It's choice paralysis. It's like, behold the universe.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that gets to a very key point. What of these graphical parts of the road to restoration, the UI, the miscellaneous graphical rework, the item regrounding, the rendering changes, and of course the player avatar, which of these did they absolutely need to make their case that 2026 is the year of the road to restoration? For me, honestly, I think it's the regrounding, the toggle, and the rendering changes.
I'd say those specifically, on the rendering changes, because that's something that it's like graphical fidelity that works within the style we have. Having things look like they're properly illuminated by the light sources around them, I think that's just a win overall, regardless of the style we're going to go with. I also want to add the avatar rework onto that. I think that was something that, for a lot of the cutscenes we have in the game and quests and such,
it was unfinished business for a lot of players too, I think.
Yeah, and it was kind of, there's a lot of times in the game where it's just glaringly out of place and low fidelity compared to the environments we have now. And yeah, of course, it's just, we needed to get that done. It's been so long now. We went through a whole art director that came and gone without getting that thing, and it was time.
I still have the book, the 20-year book, where they talked about that. The 20-year book of propaganda, some JMods have called it.
Yeah.
Over here somewhere. No, I think it's out in the living room, actually.
I logged into mobile, by the way. I got in, and mobile is still blue as it was prior to January.
Classic. Good old blue.
Lovely.
So it does come down to, just having the resources to make those UI changes and whatnot with that.
That makes me wonder how many people are still actively playing on mobile, because you figure if it was a high percentage, they'd probably prioritize it more.
Hey, I still do from time to time when I'm AFKing stuff.
Yeah,
if
I mean,
doing just like
I'm not saying
archaeology
you
and I
don't,
know I'm
but
going to be on a walk or something, like sure, I'll have it.
I know
it does make me wonder.
I know at one point we got a stat that 1 in 5 logins were on mobile, but I don't believe that is still the case. Otherwise, we would have seen more active mobile development.
I swear they should lean into like the AFK ability of mobile and give you some like comfy layout where you can hold your phone like vertical. Like you can't have like access to action bars and stuff, but just lean into making it a comfy experience for AFK.
I mean, if we get the plugins at the end of the year, and if plugins are able to modify the UI.
Oh God, plugins on mobile.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work, especially with like iOS.
Yeah,
plugins on mobile is going to be a shit show.
Issues with that, because even on the OS side, they're trying to ship their own plugins for a couple of the basic ones like Clue Solver and Menu Entry Swapper, and it hasn't gone the best for them there. But 2026, the year of the big RuneScape rebrand, we looked at the removal of Treasure Hunter, the UI, item regrounding, rendering changes in the avatar rework. And I guess the big question with the bulk of the graphical rework done, I think, outside of the part 2 of the avatar rework, does this successfully return RuneScape to its roots as they wanted to do, or at least they said in the road to restoration? Do you guys think they accomplished that? I'll go to you, Zant, first as the graphical person.
I don't really know, because it seems like I don't know, graphically they're not really returning to much of anything, more so just refining what we've had into more of like a clear vision. So I don't know, that's a hard one to answer in the realm of the graphics, I think.
Tanis,
I mean, what I will say is, like, I think the style we've landed on through the environments that eventually I think informed this avatar, I've always thought it feels very RuneScape. Like, it's not, they didn't just keep adding fidelity to it. They started doing cool things with the style once they unlocked additional fidelity. And like even this little archaeology dungeon I'm staring at right now, the styling of the walls and stuff like that. I mean, they're doing some cool stuff with what they're actually picking for their style instead of just trying to take it full realism, which is honestly another route I could have seen it going. But yeah, I don't know. I could ramble about that for a lot longer.
Yeah, in terms of like stylization versus realism. What do you think, Tanis? I know you said that graphics didn't matter much to you this year on that.
Oh, I think they did accomplish, what they set out to, but maybe what they set out to is more like what Zant is talking about, of picking a direction and sticking with it. Now, that seems to have happened, prior, but we're seeing the results of that now.
The full completion, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And so to me, that part of this whole bigger rebranding restoration project is been successful. That's probably the one part that's been successful, where there's been a lot of other things that if it's your cup of tea, you're absolutely loving it. If it's not, you're probably indifferent. But the graphic side of things, I think, has been, pretty good.
All right. Xurdones, anything from you on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of with Tanis, where I think they accomplished what they set out to do. I just don't necessarily think what they set out to do is what they said they were going to do.
Which is shaping up to be, spoilers for the bit, one of the greater things that happened on the road to restoration.
Spoiler for the bit: join the Patreon if you haven't already. Like and subscribe. It
became a whole lot of compromise, and we get into exactly where all that landed. So this is the new waterline then for graphics in 2026 and beyond. And like you said, maybe they were already there, and things like Misthalin and the regrounding kind of just firmed up the base of that and set the rest of the game on that path, perhaps. Maybe that's the way to look at that then. So, okay. Anything else on that then before we move on? No? No. Everyone's good. Perfect. Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, folks, 21 years ago on June 12th, 2005, we published the first episode of RSBANDB Update, talking about the seeds and farming equipment. And here we are, lo and behold, carrying on for another year. We have big updates yet to come this year, like 120 construction, another league, hopefully. Maybe a 30th skill at some point, which they said they were working on, Haven Hive Part 2, and of course next week, something we're all looking forward to, a new archaeology dig site with even new Gothixian dirt.
Amongst other new things. Dirt. Who doesn't love new dirt?
And a whole new collection associated with that. So it's been a long time, and I just want to, as I do at the end of each and every year, give a big, huge thank you to everybody who has helped out over the years, who has been on the show, who has been a guest, who has co-hosted, who has been a sounding board for ideas, and as Earth says, somebody who has kept me honest and prevented me from getting into trouble and doing things that I shouldn't do. So a big, huge thank you goes out to everybody in that camp. But also, of course, to the listeners, to the people who just keep this podcast going, the people who tune in every week, the people who might leave a comment every now and then, and, even the people who listened once upon a time, maybe just for a few episodes. All of that has taken a major place in the history of RSBANDB and where we've been and making this show what it is. So just a big, huge thank you to the listeners. Of course, the Patreon supporters, we mention you guys each and every week. That has fundamentally transformed how we do the show, how we do community. It's always amazing interacting with any of our community members, but the things these guys let us do for our monthly bits and community nights is just wonderful. So thank you for that. And of course, thank you to all the hosts and co-hosts, you guys who are here each and every week, who without me, it'd just be me talking for an hour at a time, which probably would get boring. So thank you for facilitating this discussion. But one of the things we kind of want to, and this might be one of the worst kept secrets of Update, or it might surprise everybody. But I do have to say, Tanis, thank you for everything that you've done. I checked the actual numbers on this, and you started in January 2018 full time. We rotated through people in 2017. So just thank you for your service tremendously on that. And the reason I mentioned that is that you are actually leaving as primary co-host of Update starting this week. So thank you for everything.
Yep. Well, you're welcome, Shane. It has been one amazing ride, and I'm not going anywhere.
You'll still be here like for accessibility leagues, right, and all that other stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's been, like I said, an amazing ride. I've been here through some of the most controversial times in
Menopause, pandemic, Anachronia, content cadence,
Europass,
the aftermath of Mod Warden's departure, and the period that came after that with not much of a rudder for the game.
The entire Mod Keeper era.
Yeah. But at the same time, I was lucky enough to be here during some of the best times, right, with archaeology and when Mod Warden came in, and I've met people that I never could have imagined that I would have ever met in my life, and learned from them, been able to share those things that I've learned in other aspects of my life, even in my work life, and that's special. That's something I can always take with me. At the same time, I feel like I've been able to also share the importance of accessibility and bringing certain things to the game to people that can really make a difference in those ways. So it's been good, man. It's just it's been a really fun, really wild ride, and in general, I'm not gaming as much. I'm kind of in a little bit of a lull. But I will be ready to take on Construction 120, and I'm definitely ready I'm already for leagues already. I'm like, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't be handing it over to a more capable person, with Xurdones here. So, I'm glad to see this East-West connection come to life, and
we're taking over.
Taking over. That's right.
So if I was to put you on the spot, Tanis, what would you say over the years was the most controversial thing we dealt with?
Hero Pass. Yeah.
That was a wag the dog situation, wasn't it?
One of the worst. Yeah, and just classic. And I think what made Hero Pass so bad is it was a no-win situation, even though clear eyes could see the nuance of the situation. It wasn't all black and white, and that's what everyone wanted it to be. And we were sitting here but we can see color, and it's not. And so that was hard to steer through, but I think we did it.
And the most telling thing of that is that it wasn't Hero Pass itself that sent Sirion over to OSRS. He said it was Jagex's reaction to Hero Pass that did.
Yep. Because it was so reactive, right? The community reacted and overreacted, and then Jagex did the same thing, and you're going that and it was such a confidence shaker for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where we're going, what's this going to turn out to be? Is it just going to be these wild pendulum swings every month now, every couple, so that was a crazy time. I think the only other time that would have been close would have been before, when I was just quarterly in the
Metaphos era
and the Mod Osborne hostage video. That one was pretty. that was a pretty tough era right there.
The whole Cambridge mob definition came into being then.
Yep.
I think I know what the most euphoric or best time probably was, but tell me.
Oh man, it's hard to pick. Archaeology is so good.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, archaeology is so good, and yeah, because we're talking about when I'm co-hosting. There is another time, and I was on this show with Kryptonus that was so special.
So I was gonna suggest maybe I remember that show.
It was really, really special. So
I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say other than that, archaeology was special because what was so cool about archaeology was not only was it just unbelievably good content, but we got lore diggers out of that. And so we got to really just have fun and go in depth into some lore things. And
it came in the middle of a pandemic at the very start.
Yeah. Yeah. So what were we doing anyway, right? So
well, I mean, that's why we're so excited for next week's update with that. So, but as you mentioned, Xurdones is taking over, and this marks the first time ever the show's been hosted in full by two Canadians. That's history in itself.
We are taking over. Canada domination, eh?
You're going to be here until at least the end of the year, Xurdones, on that. Do you have anything you'd like to throw in addition to what Tanis had to say? I know I'm not planning to make any huge changes. Everything should be, relatively continuing on as is.
Well, as you can see, I've immediately gone mad with power, so we will see how that develops as my ego can only grow larger. No, I mean, I've been a great enjoyer of the show. I think the reason I initially came on, I think because Quest Caping recommended me for an old bit we did ages and ages and ages ago. But I think the reason I came on the actual show is just because I started listening after that. That was my introduction to the show, and I started listening, and I found myself like talking out loud, having my own thoughts as you guys were talking. And so now I'm here. Y'all are stuck with me. Bad takes only.
But to be fair,
2026 bitches.
But to be fair, you do have a fairly analytical brain to it. I forget what the thing was that you said you used to do for fun as a teenager with law or something like that.
Oh yeah, I was a big copyright law nerd when I was in high school. That was sort of my weird little area of focus. Weird little fixation.
You have any of those left over?
I still got some books lying around.
I mean, fixations.
Oh yeah, probably tons. I mean, I'm still playing this game after 20 fucking years.
And that's the way it goes. But yeah, nonetheless, just a big, huge thank you, Tanis, and I'm sure the rest of the community is saying that as well. And best of luck, Xurdones. I hope that the second half of this year is not going to be turbulent, because there is always the thing that tends to happen when, something like this switches over here at Update, that there's always going to be some kind of turbulent thing at Jagex's. And
yeah,
so,
now you've said it. Now you've gone and jinxed it.
Yeah, but
you look.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But overall, we head into another year of the podcast. Thank you, everybody, who has always been here and who has supported us. It means the world to all of us. So just thanks so much. But we're not done the show just yet. We do have a few achievements this week, as you would come to expect with the podcast. We have Miss Whipped, who got 120 Magic on June 9th. Mel got 120 Thieving on the 8th. Sanguine RX got 120 Archaeology on the 6th, and Rhino got 5 billion total XP on June the 5th. Nicely done.
Wow.
All right, and other achievements. Oh, looky here, we got Shane 12088.
Who's that guy?
I don't know. He got Shamining, the summoning pet. All right, at 16.9 mil, not bad. It was on the 11th. Nice. And then we have Squiggy Lemon. With a 3rd H die. Wow. 2 ice dice. Okay.
Lemon has been doing a lot of clues.
Whoa. Yeah. I should have stuck around. I should have loaned me some money. Okay, so
Iron Man, by the way.
Okay.
Alas.
Alas. Okay. And then we have Ridgeway with an Umbrella Urn. Nice. Ambi Pet at
2KC.
Yeah,
that is
it's like at that point you got to quit. You can't go back to that boss, right?
No.
Unless you got darts saved up.
That was pretty cool.
Give me some of that luck.
Yeah. And then again, we have Squiggly Lemon with a 2nd age plate body and a Zeta's. What is that?
Zeta's Protege. That's an achievement.
Zeta's Protege. Yeah, that's the basic elite blue scroll completion log.
Wow.
It's not the entire log. It's like the first tier of the log. It's still very impressive.
Yeah,
crazy.
That's cool. Good job.
I could never myself imagine me doing that many clues. I posted,
especially that many elites.
Yeah, I posted my rundown of my league's progress since leagues on OS completed, and the most amusing line, well, one of the most amusing line probably on there is that my clues completed for this league is a grand total of 2.
Wow.
So I actively made the choice that I was not doing clues in the league. And that's where we ended up with 2 League clue scrolls. I think I did one hard just for the hell of it, and then one easy as well in there. But yeah, it just proves that you can play a League and not do clues if you really wanted to. So
it's true.
But
that's what I did.
Yeah. Now that the OS one has ended, I'm definitely looking forward to the RS3 one whenever that's going to arrive. I know we're going to have a lot of fun with that and seeing what all the different changes that have been made for it. And I guess in concert with the changes happening here on the show, Tanis, pick of the week. What do you got?
So I got a show that I started watching years and years ago, and then it started popping up again in my shorts, and I was like, man, that was such a good show. I'm gonna watch it again. And I have been just enthralled with it. That's another reason I haven't been gaming as much, because I've been watching the show. It's called Vikings. Now, it originally premiered, I think, on the History Channel, but now it is on Netflix. I think it might also be on Amazon, but I know it's on Netflix. That's what I watch it on. And it follows loosely, very loosely, but it's the story of Ragnar Lothbrok, who was the Viking who, went west, and it's, follows him and his sons, and like I said, just a lot of real history that's loosely based and tied together in a single narrative, while, obviously wouldn't have been the case, but, everything from the Vikings landing at Landis Farm for the first time, all the way to, a king of France being, Viking, and then leading to the Normans, who would then eventually, for the second time, take over England, from Viking lineage. So it's a great show. I cannot recommend it enough. If you like history, if you like just Vikings, if you like battles, if you like hot shield maidens, there's all kinds of just goodness in this series. So
it is a little bit in that kind of like post Game of Thrones, very dark, bloody sex kind of things. Yeah. So if you're not into that, maybe give it a miss. But if you don't mind it, it is a very good show.
I was wondering how it considered when it came to, just the history associated with it. Like, how true is it to history?
So I think it's true in the fact of certain characters, certain events, but not necessarily like an A to B to C to, the sequencing of those things. Like,
so it's kind of a dramatic storytelling then, from a nonfiction point of view.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think most notably, there's not consensus among historians whether Ragnar actually existed. I think he's kind of I understand him to be kind of a legendary figure, and like his sons existed, like Ivar and Ubba. They definitely did exist, but their claim to being descended from him is a little bit contested. Yeah. Is my understanding?
It's murky.
And that's been my general sense too when it comes to anything Viking. It's murky.
But
yeah.
But the problem is, like, because all we have is the sagas, right? But then there are other characters like Harold that are no less historical, but also in the sagas, and so that's where you run into this. Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah.
Viking history is hard because they didn't really have a lot of written history until post-Christianization. So there's a lot of even the sagas, all of the sagas that are known, I think, were written post-Christianization. So there's a lot of debate about how accurate a lot of the things we know about Viking history and mythology were.
There's also a question of how accurate this TV series is for American audiences. Wikipedia says that the nudity and sex scenes are regularly edited out for American audiences.
Of course they are, because Americans are prudes.
Oh, no. You mean there might have been a better version. Ooh, we need to turn the VPN on.
People are having the sex. I love the second sentence in that paragraph that you didn't highlight, Shane, that they specifically call out that they censored a sex scene between two women.
The fourth season episode, The Outsider, the scene between Lagertha and Astrid was only shown to be kissing, but it was actually a sex scene.
Two women having the sex. The young, good American child cannot tolerate that.
Spoilers. Lagertha is awesome, and really, really awesome. But unless I'm missing something, I'm pretty sure she raised Astrid, and I think that's a bigger issue than
that's a little weird.
The scene.
That's a little weird.
Never mind that part, but
God,
don't show it. Vikings, different.
I mean, it was a different time.
It was a different time. I mean, there's a lot of slavery happening in this show.
A lot. Yeah. And
it's a very dark show.
Yeah. It's. I wonder though, are the rituals, as true as what, or are those Christianized, right? Because there's one episode in particular where you see a lot of religion, and you go, that looks like religion from a Christian viewpoint. Going,
well, I don't know the direct answer to your question. I remember the episode that you're thinking of, and I do know that they filmed that at a historic Stav church, which Stav churches are really cool, just architecturally. There's one in Minnesota. If you're ever in Minnesota, it's really nice.
Okay.
But Stav churches, like that's definitely Christian influence. Okay. So the location is Christian. The rituals, I don't know.
Okay, I was curious because So highly recommend it. It's a little bit older, but yeah, if you like any of that kind of stuff, it's great. And,
show was filmed in. I was just gonna say the show was filmed in Ireland, Iceland, Norway, and Canada, specifically Screechmont and Prince Ontario.
I don't know where those towns are. Those are probably small towns.
Yeah, but it looks like mostly Iceland and Ireland for the filming. So
that makes sense.
And I mean, if it's on, let's see, what did it say it was on internationally here? I think it said Amazon Prime?
I think in Canada it's on Netflix.
Right. So when you look at it, that Amazon Prime Video in the U.S. and then history, otherwise, you kind of paint the picture that when you're looking at this, that maybe they did edit for the American audience, and you would find a different one elsewhere if you're looking at the original Canadian or the original Irish, because it does list countries of origin as Canada and Ireland on this. So
yeah, it was a Canadian-Irish co-production. We don't make a ton of our own content, but we love partnering with other countries to make TV.
Yeah. Fun fact, at the end of most TV shows, you can see the attribution thing, and in many places they'll have like a giant Ontario or BC or Vancouver logo in the credits to show where the bulks of it were produced.
Toronto and Vancouver fill in for a lot of places.
Which is weird, because when you look at the TV landscape in that regard and you see them being used, they very rarely actually get to be Vancouver or Toronto.
Yeah, I not to distract from Vikings, but I did find that one episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds very funny, where they go back in time to what's clearly like Lakeshore Drive, Toronto, Lakefront Toronto, and they're like, "Where are we? Are we in New York? No, we're in Toronto." Like, oh, that's fun.
I know another show that did that great to actually praise the city that it was being filmed in was Continuum. We talked about that a lot on the podcast when that was running, but that was
never
actually
watched Continuum.
It was good. It was shot in Vancouver, and it actually portrayed Vancouver as well. So,
is that the one with Amanda Tapping?
I don't remember the name of the actor. I can look that up and see. But it was the one.
That's not that important.
Where the where the cop got sent back in time from 2077 to it. You're thinking of Amanda Tapping from Stargate Continuum. This is just Continuum.
Well, I know Amanda Tapping did another sci-fi show. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Revolution, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, she was in The Outer Limits.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I enjoyed that show, The Outer Limits. That was another Canada production.
Oh, really?
In relation with the U.S., yeah.
We truly do a lot of co-productions.
It was like a sci-fi paranormal anthology kind of thing. Lots of interesting episodes in it, and also lots of crossover with the various Star Trek actors and directors and writers and whatnot there to it. They got all sorts of like arcs and whatnot. Like one of their arcs was called Aliens Among Us.
Yeah, I remember it. It was being good.
I've been trying to find that somewhere on streaming, but I haven't been able to. Like I used to just catch odd episodes here and there, but I never caught the full series of it. So that is something I want to catch up with at the end. Sorry to distract from that. Anything else on the Vikings?
No, that's it. Just really, really enjoying it, and it gets you fired up.
Right on. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the podcast. So big, huge thank you to everybody over the last 21 years. If you want the next one when it arrives, we'll be back next week talking about... Oh, that was a back spasm. That's not good. We'll be back next week talking about archaeology and the new Amberfell dig site that is Gothixian in origin first stage. But if you want that... when it automatically arrives, update.show/subscribe. We're on all the major podcast listening services out there. Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Spotify, and more. Just visit update.show/subscribe. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/RSBANDB. You can find all the episodes there in video format if you want to see a little bit more on the avatar, or if you want to see us. If you watch there, like and subscribe. Greatly helps the channel out. It is appreciated. But Zan, always good having you on with this. I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the Road to Restoration graphical arc, at least for now.
Yeah, seems like it. Barring any other improvements to the character, I guess.
It's been amazing walking this journey over the first half of the year, and consistently seeing your feedback on this and how it's brought you back to the game. Thanks for being here on these episodes.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course, Xurdones, we'll be seeing you pretty much each and every week now, unless something changes. Everyone's favorite clan quester.
You're stuck with me now.
And of course, Tanis, thank you for being the co-host and everything that you've done for the show. It's meant a lot to me and to the listeners as well. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Shane. Thanks.
And of course, as we mentioned, he won't be going away. He'll still be here. If anybody wants to hear from everybody's first favorite Australian, rather.
First favorite Australian.
you know how to reach out to him. But with that being said, we'll be back next week for another episode of RSBANDB Update. See you then, everyone. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.